pulled from my video archives, this is my Turbo Ranger build from about 20 years ago. Powered by a 2.3 liter turbo engine of an 86 Ford Thunderbird Turbo Coupe, this Ranger was one hell of a sleeper. Everything starts somewhere. I originally bought this truck as a winter beater. It's an 88 Ford Ranger. It was equipped with a 2 liter and a 5-speed transmission. It had some damage on the right front fender, and since I was replacing the fender anyway, I decided to upgrade to the 89 version. I replaced the rad cradle, grille, front fenders, and hood. While I was at it, I also upgraded the dash to the 89 version. After that, I started to realize that 2 liter was really underpowered. Thanks to the articles in Hot Rod magazine, the idea of making this Ranger a Turbo Ranger came to light. The drivetrain is from an 86 Ford Thunderbird Turbo Coupe, which is a 2.3 liter turbo and a T5 5-speed transmission. I originally ran just the factory T3 turbocharger and a Volvo front mount intercooler. The engine tuning was done through a Motes chip, but it had a lot more learning curve than I expected. Took it to a couple events, Autocross and also at the drag strip. It ran mid-14s. It's definitely a fun truck, but it didn't really have the looks I was going for. After replacing the box sides, I thought it'd be nice if the truck actually matched. So we laid down a 2-tone primer, and it turned out better than we expected. Small things like Mustang mirrors, Explorer front and rear bumper, blacked out grille, blacked out trim, really set the truck off. In addition to the engine mods, obviously you can see the truck has some suspension mods too. It's running drop I-beams in the front and a drop kit in the rear. Brakes in the front were SN95 front dual piston calipers and rotors. The rears were 10-inch brake drums from a Ford Explorer, mounted to a 7.5-inch factory rear axle with a Ford Thunderbird Turbo Coupe center section. The wheels were 17-inch Cobra R's. Tires were 245/45 R17s to finish off the sporty look. In the interior, I ran autometer gauges and a custom bezel and flip switches for multiple tunes. truck held its own at autocross events, once I was allowed to actually race it. Apparently, some people were worried about the truck actually flipping. I definitely enjoyed proving them wrong and actually being faster than some of the other cars, NSXs and Porsches. The factory setup was nice, but I wanted to do some upgrades. I wasn't a big fan of the Moats system for tuning. Basically didn't have a data logger, so it was way too much guessing. The cast iron manifold and a T3 turbo were next on my list for things I didn't like, so I opted for the center mount manifold. This used an external wastegate, which led to the lesson of never cheaping out on wastegate or blow-off valves. I basically bought a cheap eBay version and the valve didn't move and I pinned full boost out of that turbo. Luckily, it didn't damage anything. I was able to buy a nice teal wastegate and the problem was solved. Back to the turbo though. Turbo is a T3 T4 Turbonetics turbocharger with a water-cooled and oil-fed center housing. I basically found the biggest intercooler I could fit and then ran exhaust piping for my charge tubes. The upgrades didn't stop there. I also installed an aluminum radiator from Summit Racing and a Flexolite fan. I switched the ECU to a DIY unit from DIY Autotune, basically building a Mega Squirt. The upside of that is that it's laptop programmable, which had its own learning curve, but at least I could data log it and then review how the truck was running. The other benefit was got rid of that large van and went to a speed density system, which was internal to the Mega Squirt. As far as exhaust goes, it had a 3-inch downpipe, full 3-inch exhaust system with a MagnaFlow barrel style muffler. We had the truck out for a nice road trip out to the Carcraft Summer Nats in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Turns out the tune doesn't really like, plus 40 Celsius weather, and the truck runs a little hot. It made it there and back without any problems, so really couldn't ask for much more. In the fall of 2007, unfortunately, I sold this truck as a rolling chassis. The drivetrain, though, made it into a more family-friendly build. Please hit that subscribe button. Appreciate the support. Thank you for watching. Take care.